To discover what it means to be an American, sometimes you have to get out on the road. That's where you'll find Fort Bragg Communities of Cumberland County, North Carolina, a place that since the 18th century has lived and died for everything it means to be an American. We've collected all those important moments and mapped every historical site and point of interest along the way. We call it the Spirit of America Trails. Here's one of the 11 trails, the African American Heritage Trail, the Spirit of Perseverance. African Americans in Cumberland County have endured difficult times over the centuries, yet they've always persevered while fighting for what they believe in. You'll see that and more on our African American Heritage Trail. Our first stop, the Lewis Leary Historical Marker.
Even though Matthew Leary Sr. owned a harness factory and was a saddle maker, was a very wealthy merchant in downtown Fayetteville, his sons were all devoted to the cause of freedom. One would become a lawyer in that defense. But particularly just before the Civil War, his son, Lewis Sheridan Leary, witnessed a white man brutally beating a black person. And he in turn beat up a white man. And as a result of that, he had to get out of Fayetteville.
Here's our next point of interest on the African American Heritage Trail, Cross Creek Cemetery, Brookside.
We are at Cross Creek Cemetery, Brookside. This is the side of the cemetery where most notable Fayetteville African Americans were buried. Though the cemeteries were segregated, if you look at the headstones here in Brookside, you will see that they are comparable to or surpass many of those in the other side of the cemetery across Grove Street.
Next up on the African American Heritage Trail, the Henry Evans AME Zion Church.
Henry Evans came to Fayetteville in 1769. And he was on his way to South Carolina. But when he came to Fayetteville, he saw that there were no religious structures for blacks in Fayetteville. And so he began preaching to the slaves and to freedmen. But whites were afraid that he might be corrupting them. He had to swim through the icy waters of Cross Creek 3 times because whites wanted to kill him for preaching to blacks. But they finally gave up, and then they too started coming to his church. He built a little church out of the logs from an old sawmill that was here. Blacks sat on one side of the church, and whites sat on the others as he preached to them.